I'm Davy, and I'm awesome! And welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review the styles of movies that I love, the alternative, B-rated, called style flicks. Well, being that it's Christmas and I'm out of Silent Night movies, figured I'd give you guys one of my favorite Christmas comedies that flew under the radar. This movie was made in 1994, and it was directed by Ted Demme. Written and produced by Richard La Gravenice, and co-written by Marie Weiss. Also produced by Ron Bosman and Jeffrey Weiss. Made by Touchstone Pictures, as well as Don Simpson / Jerry Bruckheimer Films, and distributed by Buena Vista Pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, The Ref. The movie opens with a couple in counseling. Lloyd, played by Kevin Spacey, and Carolyn, played by Judy Davis. Carolyn is talking to the therapist, Dr. Wong, about a dream she had involving her entree at a restaurant.
It was Lloyd's head on a plate of spinach with his penis sticking out of his ear. And the waiter said, "You must try it. It's a delicacy."
Well, that's definitely a dream. What does Lloyd think about this?
I think she should stop telling it at dinner parties to all our friends.
And here I didn't think that could get any crazier. But I was wrong. Carolyn also brings up the fact that Lloyd is still hung up on an affair she had a couple of years ago, because she says that whereas, yeah, she had an affair, it didn't mean anything. So he should just let it go. It didn't count.
I think we need a ruling on this.
I'll give you a ruling. She's freaking crazy. Run. Then we cut over to a rich home being robbed.
Cat piss.
That's a little ironic considering you're a cat burglar. That's the lead, Gus, played by Dennis Leary. Back to the counseling.
How can we both be in the marriage and I'm miserable and you're content?
Luck?
They fight some more, mostly about Lloyd's mother, who owns the home they live in, and also owns the business that Lloyd runs, and how they're paying her back for a loan that she gave them, with interest, and other foreshadowing things about her. Also their son, whom Carolyn thinks is just really creative. Lloyd thinks he's a criminal. Again, foreshadowing. Back to Gus. Things are going down, and if that's not bad enough, it's okay though. Gus landed on a pool table, so he can throw a billiard ball at the dog. Now Gus needs to change his pants. He tries to run. And to make matters worse, the police have shown up. So Gus's getaway driver, Murray, took off, leaving Gus alone. Back to Carolyn and Lloyd, who are making a quick stop at a little convenience store.
You can divorce me. I don't care about alimony.
Yes! Exactly! You could divorce her! She's even offering not to take alimony or anything.
And we're not getting a divorce.
Really? Look, I'm very big on sticking it out too, but come on, dude. Gus was able to get away from the cops on foot by sneaking into the woods and getting to the closest convenience store he could. Conveniently, he sees Carolyn alone inside, and now he needs a ride.
Drive.
Gus makes bad choices. They hear on the radio that the police are setting up roadblocks for this cat burglar. So Gus tells them to take him back to their home so he can figure things out. Pleading with him, though, not to do that, Carolyn tells him they'll drop him off wherever he wants. Don't worry about Lloyd. He's no hero.
Oh, yes, you're right. Lloyd's no hero. I can vouch for that. Thanks a lot.
And they start fighting again.
Hey, stop sign. Stop sign. Hey, stop sign. Stop sign.
They fight some more.
You ran the stop sign.
I did not. There was no stop sign.
Oh, yeah.
Then they go to the military school their son Jesse is attending.
Chaucer?
Le chasseur. It's 18th century French Huguenot.
J.K. Simmons plays Siskel, his commander of the school, and this was his film debut. And he's there because Jesse is blackmailing him.
My best to the wife and kids.
So at this point, I'm leaning towards Lloyd's opinion of his son. When Carolyn, Lloyd, and Gus get back to Carolyn and Lloyd's home, Gus instantly assumes they must be rich because of all the antiques around the place.
Oh, I run an antique store in town. These are all from the
It's
shop.
his mother's store.
And now more fighting. So Gus makes a new rule.
From now on, the only person who yells is me. Why? Because I have a gun.
Fair enough. Gus wants some rope to tie them up. They inform him they don't have any rope, they only have bungee cord, but they also inform him they're not only expecting their son that night, but...
Lloyd's mother and his brother's family, they're coming for dinner.
They should be here by 9.
And now we meet Lloyd's mother.
My poor Lloyd needs his family.
His mother is played by legendary actress Gwyneth Johns, most famously known for her role in Mary Poppins. Gus gets the number of the worst dive bar in town, because he has a feeling that's where his driver's gonna be. And of course, Lloyd and Carolyn start fighting again. I should carry a spray bottle with me so I can do that to couples who do that in public, like at a restaurant or something. Turns out Gus's feeling was right. Murray was there. Because of the roadblocks, meaning there's no chance of them driving out of there, Gus tells Murray to go down to the harbor and steal a boat. Now Gus really wants a cigarette. Lloyd doesn't smoke, and Carolyn just quit. So she naturally doesn't have any cigarettes.
Just quit, huh? Where are they, Caroline?
She had some hidden.
I wonder how many other things you've been lying to me about that I don't know about that I'm about.
Gus is gonna settle things.
Did you say that you would quit?
Now to Lloyd.
You saw the stop sign, didn't you, Lloyd? Huh?
Yes, I did.
So now they can both just shut up. They can, but they won't. Carolyn notices the dog bite on the back of Gus's leg, and she offers him some Band-Aids.
I don't believe it. You want to have sex with him.
There's a ring at the door, so Gus unties Carolyn and has her answer it with him hiding behind the door. But it's just their neighbor George, dressed as Santa Claus, like apparently he does every year.
I bet you thought Margaret forgot you on her fruitcake list.
I'll bet they were hoping. At least I'd be hoping that they forgot me on their fruitcake list. Because next, Gus shows the proper way to eat fruitcake.
I don't know, alum. Don't eat it.
They go upstairs to get the Band-Aids, and Carolyn is telling Gus about an Italian restaurant her and Lloyd used to own that sadly tanked.
Failed eventually.
What are we, girlfriends here?
He doesn't care. Their son Jesse gets home, and he makes a beeline to his room. Criminal. Then Jesse meets Gus.
It smells like piss.
After a while, they get a phone call. It's Lloyd's sister-in-law, Connie.
We got a little held up. We'll be there in 20 minutes.
Played by Christine Baranski.
Looks like there's gonna be one more for dinner, huh?
Gus decides to tie up Jesse and put him in the closet while the other two go downstairs and have dinner while they're waiting for Gus's man to call him. Jesse takes this opportunity to try to get in with Gus. He wants to do what Gus is doing. He wants to go rob places. He wants to get out of there. He wants to go to Jamaica. Tells him he's not afraid of doing time.
Merry Christmas.
Gus says no. Gus gets an idea of how to explain himself to Lloyd's family.
Tell me about this doctor guy.
Well, he's an Asian man named Dr. Wong, so you don't really fit the bill. Murray finally calls. He found a boat. The owner is a woman that he thinks is interested in her, and she's willing to take them on her boat. But there is one problem.
The boat needs little work.
Figures.
You have an hour.
Hour.
Okay.
1 hour? There's only 35 minutes left in this movie. Now that Lloyd's family is there, what's for dinner?
What we're having is a traditional Scandinavian Christmas feast.
What?
What you're wearing on your heads are called Lucia wreaths.
What they're wearing is a fire hazard. And remember, kids, there's nothing funny about fire safety. Lloyd's family starts to talk to Gus as Dr. Wong, because he totally passes for a Dr. Wong, about his patients.
My line of work, you meet some real wackos.
They are shocked that he would call his patients wackos.
Yeah, they like it.
Well then, no harm done. But Lloyd's mother wants to talk about something else.
Caroline's adultery.
What? You told your mother?
Are you shocked? I mean, he's a mama's boy. Carolyn storms out, followed by Gus and Lloyd. Gus agrees about Lloyd's mother, in that she's a
Bitch!
Oh, thank you so much, Gus. Finally, somebody else sees.
To be blind not to see.
All right.
And Caroline has had it.
That's it, Lloyd. We are getting a divorce. This is finished.
Yes! Finally! Somebody making sense! We go back to Santa George, who's been visiting children all night.
Now get the hell home, George, before we call your wife.
Honestly, George, what an example.
And he's been drinking. Speaking of drinking,
Lloyd, why don't you eat me?
Connie, a character I think they wrongly named, who should have been named Karen, wants to get up and leave the room. But Gus, as Dr. Wong, won't let her. She tells him she doesn't care. She's not one of his patients.
You're gonna be somebody's patient if you don't get your ass back down into that chair.
Oh! Yes! Yes!
Gary, are you going to let him talk to me like that?
Well, hon, he is a doctor.
Lloyd's brother Gary is not very assertive. He's more what you would call a...
Bitch!
Now they all go to the other room to open some presents.
Maybe some of us are not in the mood.
Duh!
Lloyd makes the announcement that they're getting divorced.
Why?
How much time do you have? Lloyd also gives his mother another payment on that loan.
Of course, we'll have to see what happens with interest rates in the new year.
Oh, moms. Lloyd's mom is the one that gave them the loan to start that restaurant that failed. Caroline is still very upset about that restaurant failing because really what happened was Lloyd closed it after a bad review.
In the first place, it wasn't one bad review in one lousy magazine. It was the Restaurant Guidebook of New York.
Not an excuse, dude. Nobody really listens to critics. I mean, heck, if people listened to movie critics, then Home Alone and Ace Ventura would have tanked. Lloyd, though, says that in his defense, decisions are always left up to him. Caroline has a way of saying what she wants, but not making a decision on it, leaving it on him, putting all the pressure on him. For example, them living in the house they're living in now. Lloyd didn't want to live there at first. It was Caroline who said that they should just consider it. He even starts telling the story of how they were talking about it while they were enjoying a little bit of the Merry Jams.
I'm sorry, but I have had enough.
Of course you had. You're lucky this is a family gathering, because if it was a store, a manager would have been called. So now everyone starts fighting.
Excuse me! Excuse me! Excuse me! Excuse me!
I said excuse me! Lloyd finishes his story about how she roundaboutly said that she wanted to come move there in Connecticut. Because where they were living at the time, they were living in a one-bedroom, which was all they could afford. They were up to their ears in debt, and she hated living in New York. I bet you did.
Same
What
situation.
difference does any of this make now? You're getting a divorce.
Oh, shut up!
Bitch!
What he said. Lloyd's mother is feeling very unappreciated right now. So Lloyd tells her what he's going to get her next year for Christmas.
A big wooden cross.
That way, the next time she feels unappreciated...
You can climb on up and nail yourself to it.
Yeah! There's another ring at the doorbell.
Am I Oswald here? Hey!
Lloyd's mom is trying to leave, so Gus pulls out the gun.
Go ahead, shoot her.
At the door, it's Siskel. He's there to tell Lloyd and Carolyn about Jesse's blackmailing. They go upstairs to confront Jesse about this. Jesse, who is freed from his bonds.
Wow.
Jesse tells them that what the money is for is so that he can go on the run, which he's gonna do now. He can't take this anymore.
Don't start running, kid. Once you start, you never stop, believe me.
Message! He says he can't stand the fighting.
Every time you guys yell and scream at each other, it is my problem, Mom.
Message! She has to cut him off, but begs him not to leave, because she has to go answer the door. There's somebody else there now. It's Santa George.
Every year we give you a fruitcake for Christmas.
Well, that's why they hate you. If somebody gave me a fruitcake every year, I'd hate them too. Because even now when people give me fruitcakes, I get irritated. It's like them saying, "Here, we baked this for you to throw away."
Fruitcake. I love fruitcake. Num 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 num.
But suddenly George recognizes Gus. Jesse comes down with some news.
Guys, the cops are here. What are we gonna do?
You let them arrest him? Like, let's not forget, he is the bad guy here.
Jesse, quick! Take Gus to the path through the woods.
And this, kids, is what we call Stockholm Syndrome. So Jesse sneaks him out.
Oh my God, thank God you're here.
Jesse gets Gus all the way to the docks.
George! There's curfew! Go home! Get off the streets! Home, George! Home!
He's dressed as Santa. Good thing George showed up.
You know, I think things are gonna be different with Dad.
I doubt it. But they do agree on one thing.
So do you think we should go untie everybody?
No.
Even I agree with that.
Gussie? What? When are we gonna open presents?
And they all lived happily ever after. Probably not. I'm imagining they did eventually get divorced. I mean, yes, things are working right now, but let's face it. Carolyn is an overdramatic drama queen who's not happy unless she's complaining. And Lloyd is a mama's boy control freak, so maybe 6 more months? So there you have it. That's The Ref. An underappreciated Christmas comedy. I love this movie. And it did a little bit better than Breaking Even. It had an $11 million budget and did about 11.4 in the box office. So, made some profit. Even overseas in the UK, where it was titled Hostile Hostages. I like The Ref better. Even though the movie did do slightly over budget, Denis Leary was not happy with its performance. And he blamed it on the bad advertising. Which I will agree with. See, the movie came out in 1994, but personally I didn't see it until about 2000, 2001-ish, when my brother saw it on television and told me, hey, you gotta check this movie out, it's actually very funny. I even remember when he came up and told me about it, and I was like, I remember that movie, didn't look interesting. Because the advertisements really didn't convey the movie that we actually got. And the problem with that means that the wrong audiences went to go see it in theaters. So whereas a lot of people who've seen it liked it, they weren't really bragging about it because this isn't what they were expecting. And the people who now do love this movie, and it does have a cult following for, which is why it's always on lists of underappreciated Christmas movies you should check out, they didn't see it when it first came out because it looked like something completely different. So in case you haven't seen it and you're not confused, the movie is extremely vulgar. Then again, it's got Denis Leary as the lead, so you kind of should expect that. It also had a different ending in the original cut. The original cut saw Gus getting arrested at the docks in front of Jesse, so as to show Jesse that this is what happens over a life of crime. However, when test audiences saw it, it wasn't the happy, nice ending that people like, so the director changed it. Bad idea, because honestly, this ending was a little bit lackluster in my opinion. The rest of the movie was great, worth watching it, just didn't have a good payoff in my opinion. And that payoff would have been a little bit better. Sure, Gus goes to jail and everything, and that's sad, but then again, it's kind of what should happen. He's not a good guy, he's a burglar. But hey, either way, it's still a great movie. Maybe not the heartwarming family movie that you guys should all gather around the fire and watch, but definitely something for the adults to enjoy. And heck, if you're a married couple, it's a great test. Because if this movie makes you feel great about your marriage, then things are going good. If you relate, maybe you should get a divorce. So overall, I do very highly recommend that all of you check out The Ref. It's really funny. So there you have it. That's my movie review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications for when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of The Ref. Merry Christmas, guys.